The 14th Annual Oxford County Studio Tour is set to take place Saturday, April 30th and Sunday, May 1st between the hours of 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. This year's tour features 35 artists over 18 locations throughout Oxford County. Today, we're happy to have one of those artists with us. She will be number 17 on the studio tour, Gracia Wassink, MixedMedia Artist. Hello, I'm Karen. I'm a Canadian content creator and the host here at Fully Fashionista. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Gracia, for taking time out of your very busy pre-tour schedule as you prepare.
Well, hello, Karen, and thanks so much for this wonderful opportunity to talk to you about my artwork and also to promote the upcoming Oxford County Studio Tour, which we're really looking forward to at the end of this month.
Before we go any further, can you please just introduce to us what exactly a mixed media artist is?
So being a mixed media artist basically means that I take various types of media and I put them together in one piece. Now in this piece here, which is still being put together, you can see that there are various types of media in it, including actual instruments and old piano keys. There's some wire pieces that I've formed into instruments. There's acrylic paint. There's decorative papers that have been torn and collaged on. There's my own photography, which I've framed in small pieces of glass that are then covered with the copper foil. There's metallic paints. There's old sheet music, which is buried within it. There may be layers of tissue paper, more instruments, music notes. There's a couple neat little trinkets that I found that have been placed into cutouts, including this little guitar and the little violin. This piece actually got bigger than what I had intended originally, and so I ended up putting it onto a second canvas. So it's a 2-canvas piece. It also includes the arm of a violin. Sometimes there will also be ink, sometimes I will be writing things on them. This one here, I don't think I did write on, but I did a lot of different painting and scraping with various colors to get layers and layers of color. So often it will become either collaged together or put into some sort of an assemblage, where this one really is a mixture of both.
Gracia, I love your Instagram posts, and it was actually one of those posts that inspired me to contact you about this conversation. And the post was about echo printing. Could you please tell us about the echo printing you started to use?
The piece behind me here I'm really quite excited about. This is a new piece that will be ready for the studio tour. It's waiting for its finishing elements. And what I really like about it is that I used some new methods in it, which includes my eco-printing, which was something that I started doing during COVID. It's a little bit of a tricky process, but once it comes together, it makes these amazing prints of leaves, actual leaves that you can see there within the insert of this part here. And then it's also has some of the photographs that I took out in Nova Scotia this fall, and I've combined the two together, and that will become a piece that I'm just going to show you some more. This is one of my drawers that I have been storing my eco-prints in. Eco-printing is a really interesting and fascinating method to work with. And so basically I go outside, I collect various leaves. Certain leaves work much better than others because they have tannins within them. I prepare my paper, I layer my leaves between, I bundle them up. They are steamed over boiling water that includes various different things within it, including, let's say, acorns, rusty bits, different things, which actually changes the tones and the colors of the leaves as they are printed. What I'm really excited about this piece the most with, though, is what I'm going to include into this cutout, which is something that was gifted to me from a special friend who knew that I love birds' nests. And a few years ago, she said to me, "I have something for you." And it was this fantastic oriole nest. I've just kind of laid it in here because it'll take a little bit more work to attach it, and I actually need to put the frame on here before I can attach the bird's nest, or I'll squeeze it when I turn it upside down. I think that this nest is just fabulous, the way the oriole hangs their nest on the branches, and even the way it's inserted little pieces of blue plastic that it must have found as it was searching for material to build its nest. But I love the natural look of the nest along with the eco prints, and I can't wait to see this one come all together. Showcasing a few more pieces of the eco printed pieces that I've worked on. Some of the instruments here have totally been collaged with eco printing papers, and then I've rubbed them in with a wax solution. So this here is a drum from my son and it's covered in various eco printed papers along with some of the swirls. Then I've done the violin and a cello. They've all been finished front and back. I just really love the way the patina comes out with the paper and the wax that's rubbed into it. The interesting thing with the cello is that when I purchased the cello from a friend of mine, he told me that it was a working cello, and I was a little bit worried about putting the eco-printed papers onto it and having it lose its capability of being able to play the same. I wondered if it would change the tone or the sound, because now it would be a little bit thicker because of the paper as well as the glue, and it's kind of a cardstock that I do a lot of my printing on, so it wasn't just a thin piece of paper. But I had him come over the one day after it was finished, and he graciously played it for me, and it was awesome because it actually played exactly the same. It sounded the same as a cello would any other time, and so it was really cool to see that it is still a working instrument.
Gracia, when we were setting up this interview and talking off camera, you actually mentioned about a piece you were putting into your vehicle, and before you could even deliver it to the studio where it was to be part of an exhibition, it was sold. And that, I believe, used the technique that you also started to use through COVID called scraping. Can you tell us about the piece and about the technique scraping?
I had entered a piece into a gallery that was doing an exhibit on prayer over 2022, and so I had done a piece and I really loved the way that it turned out, but it sold right before it went to the gallery, and so I really enjoyed the method of it, where I had taken other paintings that I was really not happy with and I had just spread paint all across them, and it seemed as if the hands just kind of seemed to jump out at me. So I did 4 of these paintings in this series, and one of them has gone to its new home. But this is kind of some of the details of this one. So I just would pull out the various hands that were in prayer. There's an actual working finger labyrinth on a few of the pieces. There's a piece of a prayer bead necklace. I also put some chandelier crystal drops in this one. To symbolize tears. There were many tears within the prayers, especially with all the things going on this year with COVID and the war in Ukraine. There's also quite a bit of gold leaf on this piece that totally changes in whatever light you're in, or wherever you move from the piece. You can kind of see the gold there as it flashes and changes with the light. Down at the bottom there's an actual prayer weaving, and hanging from the bottom are prayer ribbons with various prayers written on them. This piece here is 24 by 24, and it's called Hear Our Prayers. This is a piece that I'm working on, and I'm doing a scraping process with my paint, which is a newer process that I've just started doing using an old key card from a hotel or an old credit card. For now I'm just going to be putting some white paint. I really like how the white scraping has turned out, and so I've been really playing with that quite a bit. This is a yellow ochre. Put a little bit of that. This one here is a raw sienna. Kind of similar to the ochre, but maybe a wee bit darker. And then I basically just start to scrape the color down and through. A little bit too much of the browns and the golds came out there, so I'm going to put a little more white on. I feel as if I've lost a little bit of the red and the orange, which I actually did like in here, so I'm going to add a little bit of that. Just a touch of red, just to pull that through. And as it scrapes, it starts to pick up on the textures that have been happening underneath because of all the different layers. And that's the part that gives it these interesting shapes that start to, you start to see images and things in them, like the ones that I did with the hands and the prayer, that I can then start to pull out actual shapes and highlight them with color just on their own. You can't really see my paper towel, but I've got a paper towel here that I scrape my card off on every so often. It's a little bit of an unpredictable method because you never quite know exactly how the paint or where it's going to go on. Like the way this is coming now, like the oranges that are coming through here. And there's oranges and reds in here. Like that the blue doesn't come all the way through, but I am going to take some blue and swash it a little bit through. I might wait for this to dry a bit before I do that.
Gracia, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to make time for us here at Fully Fashionista to give us some insight into some of the pieces you will be featuring at the upcoming Oxford County Studio Tour.
I want to take this time and just say thanks. Thanks so much for coming into my space with me today and walking through the studio and seeing different pieces that I'm working on, and just being willing to showcase this on your Fully Fashionista program. I just want to invite everybody that they're welcome to come on April the 30th and May the 1st, when we'll have the open house and studio tour here, and I will be stop number 17 on the Oxford Studio Tour. Take care. See you soon.
You know, Gracia, I was really disappointed that I couldn't feature the Purple Lady today on this segment just due to time constraints. For the viewers, you'll see a video of the Purple Lady displaying on the screen as I speak. If you would like to hear more about this insightful and inspiring piece, let me know in the comments below or reach out to me on Instagram or Facebook through Messenger, and I will be sure to put a special edition Fully Fashionista up featuring the work The Purple Lady. Well, it's been a real pleasure to be with you today. If you would like to find out more information about the Oxford County Studio Tour, their link is listed in the video description below, as well as Gracia Wassink's link. As always, thank you for joining me here at Fully Fashionista. I've so enjoyed bringing this video to you. If you've enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. Leave us a comment in the comments below. We'd appreciate those too. Until we meet again, this is Karen reminding you to style your statement every day.